Let us begin by speaking a brutal and perhaps terrifying truth. In the cold economy of modern dating, most people are in fact replaceable. We live in a world of infinite options, a digital marketplace where personas are swiped, compared, and discarded with an efficiency that is both dazzling and soul-crushing. The unspoken belief is that there is always someone else just a click away, someone newer, shinier, perhaps less complicated. This creates a profound and constant anxiety in the hearts of so many women. It is the fear of the upgrade, the quiet terror that no matter how much you give, how much you love, or how good you are, your connection is fragile, your position is temporary, and you could be replaced without a moment's notice. You find yourself living in a state of low-grade performance, subtly auditioning for a role that never feels truly secure, constantly looking over your shoulder at the endless sea of other options. But this brutal truth, the one that causes so much pain, only applies to a certain level of connection. It applies to the marketplace of egos, to the superficial realm of personas. But there is another level, a deeper reality, the realm of the soul. And in the realm of the soul, there is no such thing as a replacement. What if there was a way to connect with a man so deeply that you moved beyond the marketplace of the replaceable and into the sanctuary of the irreplaceable? A way to forge a bond not on the fragile ground of performance and appearance, but in the eternal, unshakable ground of the psyche itself. This video will reveal the 7 unconscious secrets to creating this very connection. These are not tactics to make you a better competitor in the marketplace. They are profound principles of psychological and energetic alignment that will remove you from the competition entirely. You will learn how to bypass his logical, comparing mind and create a deep, resonant imprint on his soul, a bond so profound it makes you, in his inner world, utterly and eternally irreplaceable. The first and most profound of the 7 secrets requires a radical shift in your understanding of male desire. We are taught that to be irreplaceable, a woman must become the ultimate prize, the perfect destination, the treasure at the end of the hunt. But this is a misunderstanding. A man may chase a treasure, but he will build his life around his map. The first secret to becoming irreplaceable in his soul is to stop trying to be the treasure, and instead to become the missing map to his own. Let us explore this with the depth it deserves. Every man, as Carl Jung taught, is on an unconscious quest. He is a traveler in the vast and often unknown territory of his own psyche. He is searching for the missing parts of himself, his capacity for feeling, his intuition, his connection to life, the part of him that Jung called the Anima, or the soul. He is not, on the most fundamental level, searching for a perfect woman. He is searching for himself. Most women in their interactions with a man try to be the destination. They present themselves as the perfect paradise he has been searching for. They showcase their beauty, their wit, their accomplishments, essentially saying, "Here I am, the search is over." This can be attractive, but it is also a performance, and as we know, personas are always replaceable. There is always a more beautiful destination, a more exciting treasure. The irreplaceable woman understands a deeper truth. She does not present herself as the destination. She embodies the qualities of the map. And what is a map? A map is a source of clarity. It is a tool of revelation. It is something that does not tell you what to believe, but shows you the territory so you can find your own way. When a woman has done her own inner work, when she is a still lake, a sovereign presence, she becomes a living, breathing map for a man's soul. In her calm presence, free from the static of her own neediness, he sees his own inner world reflected back to him with stunning clarity. In her deep, intuitive way of being, he sees a reflection of the anima he has been searching for. She does not tell him who he is, but in her presence, he suddenly understands himself better. She is the mirror that shows him his own forgotten face. This is a priceless and irreplaceable gift. A man can find fleeting pleasure with many people, but the woman who, just by being herself, provides him with a map back to his own soul. She is not just a partner, she is a catalyst for his own evolution. The connection he feels to her is not just one of desire, but of profound, life-altering necessity. He becomes irreplaceable to her, not because he needs her to survive, but because through her, he is finally learning how to truly live. The second unconscious secret builds upon the first. Once a man's soul has recognized you as a map, his body must then decide if the territory is safe to explore. This is not a conscious decision. It is a primal biological verdict rendered by his nervous system. The second secret to becoming irreplaceable is to become a sanctuary for his nervous system. Let us be clear. This does not mean becoming his therapist or his emotional dumping ground. It means cultivating an inner state of peace so profound that your very presence is a form of medicine. To understand why this is so powerful, we must again look at the science of connection. The male nervous system, just like the female, is constantly scanning its environment for cues of safety or danger. In the modern world, a man is perpetually in a state of subtle, low-grade battle. He is battling for status at work, battling the pressures of responsibility, and navigating a world of constant overstimulation. His sympathetic nervous system, the fight-or-flight mechanism, is almost always activated. Many women, in an attempt to be exciting and desirable, unknowingly add to this state of alert. They offer the energy of drama, of unpredictability, of emotional highs and lows. This is the energy of the casino. A casino is a thrilling place. It is full of flashing lights, high stakes, and the intoxicating rush of dopamine. And a man may be drawn to the casino for the thrill of the game, but no one can live in a casino. The constant stimulation inevitably leads to burnout. It is a place of depletion, not restoration. The irreplaceable woman understands this on an intuitive level. She is not the casino, she is the sanctuary. A sanctuary is a place of profound peace. It is where the armor can be taken off, where the weapons can be set down, where the nervous system can finally shift from the exhaustive state of fight or flight into the restorative, healing state of rest and connect. This is the state governed by the ventral vagal nerve, and it is the only biological state in which true intimacy and bonding can occur. When you have done the work to regulate your own emotions, to cultivate your own inner peace, your presence radiates a coherent and calming frequency. He feels it in his body before he can think it in his mind. His shoulders drop, his breathing deepens, the tension in his jaw softens. His nervous system, in your presence, is given the rare and precious gift of safety. This creates an incredibly powerful and addictive bond. He begins to unconsciously associate your presence with the feeling of profound peace. You become the one person in his life who is not a source of stress but a source of restoration. He will begin to seek you out, not just for conversation or intimacy, but for the very feeling of your presence, in the same way a weary traveler seeks out a quiet, shaded spring in the middle of a harsh desert. This is the secret that bypasses all competition. Other women may be competing to be more exciting, more beautiful, more thrilling. They are competing to be the best casino. You, in your quiet sovereignty, are competing in an entirely different league. You are offering the one thing his soul and his biology crave more than anything else, a true and lasting sanctuary. The third unconscious secret is a paradox that lies at the heart of human desire. A woman's value is often most profoundly felt, not in her presence but in her absence. But this is not about playing games or manufacturing distance. It is about understanding the science of perceived value and the art of mastering the gravity of your absence. A woman who makes herself constantly available, whose time and energy are always on offer, inadvertently devalues her own presence. She becomes like the air we breathe, essential but unnoticed precisely because it is always there. There is no contrast, no space for her to be missed, no moment for him to register the true weight of her contribution to his life. The irreplaceable woman understands this dynamic. Her absence is not a void, it is a powerful force. It is the space in which her presence is allowed to resonate, to echo, to be fully appreciated. She does not create this absence as a tactic. It is the natural consequence of a life that is already full. This is not about playing hard to get. It is about being a woman of substance whose time and energy are precious resources, allocated first and foremost to her own sovereign world. Think of the ocean and its tides. A woman who is always available is like a perpetual high tide. The shore is constantly submerged. The landscape never changes. It is predictable. While it may be beautiful, The constant presence of the water means the hidden treasures of the ocean floor remain unseen. The sovereign woman is like the ocean in its natural rhythm. Her presence is a magnificent high tide, full, engaging, and life-giving. But she is not afraid of the low tide. She is not afraid to pull back her energy and retreat into the vastness of her own being, to tend to her own life. And it is in this moment of low tide, in her absence, that the true magic happens. The water recedes, and for the first time, he is able to see the beautiful, rare, and intricate treasures that were left behind on the shore. He can walk the beach of his own thoughts and reflect on the memories, the feelings, and the insights her presence brought to him. Her absence is not an emptiness, it is a space for revelation. And it makes him anticipate the return of the high tide with a profound sense of longing and appreciation. This is the psychological gravity of your absence. When you have a rich and fulfilling life of your own, our sacred garden, you are not a constant presence in his. And in those moments when you are gone, he is given the gift of space, space to miss you, space to wonder about you, space to process the impact you have on him. He begins to realize that his world is quieter, less colorful, less meaningful without you in it. You are not forcing him to value you. You are creating the conditions in which he discovers your value for himself. And a value that he discovers on his own is one he will never forget. The fourth secret lies in understanding that the most profound conversations between a man and a woman happen without a single word being spoken. To become irreplaceable, you must become fluent in the language his soul naturally understands, a language that bypasses his ego and speaks directly to his heart. This is the silent language. This language is communicated through the frequency of your being, and it is composed of three distinct, powerful dialects. First is the language of the body. This is the dialect of embodied sovereignty. A woman who is still seeking validation often holds her body like a question. Her movements are subtly designed to please, to attract the gaze, to receive approval. It is a performance. The irreplaceable woman, however, has a different relationship with her body. She inhabits it. Her posture is not rigid, but relaxed and aligned. Her movements are not for an audience. They are an expression of her own inner state. She is comfortable in her own skin, and this comfort is a powerful signal of self-possession. This is the quiet energy of the wild woman, and it communicates without words a profound truth. My body is my home, not an object for your approval. A man does not just see this, he feels it as a form of unshakable, authentic power. Second is the language of the gaze. The eyes are the most direct communicators of our inner world. The gaze of a woman in a state of lack is a grasping gaze. It is constantly seeking, questioning, and monitoring him for signs of interest or disinterest. It silently asks, "Do you see me? Am I enough?" The gaze of the sovereign woman is a knowing gaze. It is calm, steady, and open. It does not grasp for his attention. It is a window into a peaceful world that she invites him to witness. It says, "I see you, and I am not afraid for you to see me, because my worth is not determined by your reflection." This gaze creates a profound sense of safety and intrigue. It is a mystery he wants to solve, not a demand he has to meet. The third and most profound dialect is the language of stillness. This is the energetic signature of your presence. It is the palpable calm that radiates from a woman whose nervous system is regulated. Think of it as the timbre of a musical instrument. Two violins can play the exact same note, but the sound of a cheap factory-made violin is thin and harsh, while the sound of a Stradivarius is rich, warm, and resonant, filling the entire room. Your words are the notes, but your inner state is the quality of the instrument itself. When you do the inner work to cultivate peace and self-worth, you are not learning new notes to play, you are transforming the very wood and soul of the instrument you are. A man may not be able to consciously tell the difference between a woman who is performing calm and a woman who truly is calm, but his nervous system can. He feels the rich, warm resonance of her stillness. He feels that her silence is more profound and nourishing than another woman's entire vocabulary. This is what makes her irreplaceable. Anyone can learn the notes, but the unique, inimitable, and beautiful resonance of your soul, spoken through the silent language of your presence, is yours and yours alone. The fifth unconscious secret requires a woman to give herself permission to reclaim the part of her that society has tried to tame. It is the secret of embodying the wildness that a man's soul, though his ego may fear it, secretly craves. For centuries, women have been conditioned to embody the archetype of the good girl. The good girl is agreeable, predictable, and pleasing. She does not make waves. She avoids conflict. Her emotions are neatly managed. Her opinions are softened to be more palatable, and her edges are sanded down to ensure she fits comfortably into the world of others. She is the domesticated feminine, a beautiful and well-tended garden. And while there is a certain safety in the garden, no man's soul has ever gone on a great adventure in a place where everything is perfectly manicured. The wild woman is the untamed forest. She is not chaotic or destructive. She is simply and unapologetically alive. Her emotions are not wrong. They are the authentic weather of her soul, sometimes sunny, sometimes stormy, but always real. Her laughter is loud. Her passion is fierce. Her intuition is her truest compass, and she follows it even when it leads her off the beaten path. She has not abandoned her kindness, but she has married it to a profound and unshakable courage. When a woman begins to reclaim this wild essence, she becomes unpredictable in the most captivating way. She is no longer a story that a man can read and finish in one night. She is an epic, an adventure, a living mystery. He never fully knows what will come next, not because she is playing games, but because she is so deeply attuned to her own authentic, moment-to-moment truth. A man's conscious mind, his ego, may tell him that he wants the predictable comfort of the good girl, but his soul, his anima, craves to be awakened. It yearns for a connection that makes him feel more alive, that challenges him to grow, that reminds him of the wild, untamed parts of his own being. The wild woman does this without trying. Her authenticity is a form of permission. In her presence, he feels he too can be more real, more vulnerable, more himself. This is what makes her irreplaceable. A man can find a good girl anywhere, but a woman who is a force of nature, who carries the wisdom of the forest in her eyes and the rhythm of the ocean in her soul, she is a once-in-a-lifetime encounter. He may be intimidated by her, he may even be temporarily scared by her, but he will never be bored by her. She is the one who awakens his soul, and the man who has had his soul awakened can never go back to sleep. He will forever be drawn to the woman who showed him what it feels like to be truly alive. The sixth secret is a radical act of self-trust that completely dismantles the typical power dynamics in relationships. It is the practice of embodying an unexplained truth. It is the power of a woman whose feelings, boundaries, and choices do not require a logical justification to be valid. We have been conditioned to believe that we must be able to explain ourselves to be understood, and that we must be understood to be loved. This places us in the exhausting role of the good defendant, constantly preparing a logical case for the courtroom of a man's mind. We believe our feelings are only valid if we can back them up with evidence. We think our intuition is only real if we can prove its origin. The irreplaceable woman has abandoned this courtroom. She understands that her inner world is her own sovereign territory, with its own laws, its own landscape, and its own profound, non-linear logic. A country does not need to explain its own laws to another country. They simply are. In the same way, she understands that her feelings are not a thesis to be debated. They are a fact of her own inner reality. This is a profound shift from the masculine principle of logos, logic and reason, to the feminine principle of eros, relatedness, feeling, and intuition. The woman who embodies this secret refuses to constantly translate her eros into his logos. She offers her truth as it is. What does this look like in practice? It is the embodiment of our sovereign statement. If she needs a night alone, she does not present a long list of reasons why she is tired. She simply states, "I need a quiet evening with myself tonight." If she has a bad feeling about a situation, she does not try to find logical evidence to support her intuition. She simply says, "My intuition is telling me to be cautious here." This refusal to over-explain is profoundly magnetic and mystifying. A man cannot argue with a feeling. He cannot debate an intuition. He is left with only two choices: to trust her inner world or to dismiss it, and his choice reveals everything. A man who is looking for a deep, soul-level connection will be intrigued and humbled by a woman who is so securely anchored in her own way of knowing. He will learn to trust her intuition as a valuable source of wisdom. A man who is seeking only to control and to understand the world through his own limited logic will become frustrated and dismissive. By refusing to explain her truth, she becomes a profound mystery. He cannot figure her out. He cannot predict her. He cannot use logic to control her. He must surrender to the reality of her being. This is not a game, it is a powerful filter. A woman whose truth is unexplained does not need to be validated by a man's understanding, because she has already validated herself. And it is this very quality of profound self-trust that makes her in his soul completely and utterly irreplaceable. We arrive now at the seventh and final secret. It is the foundation upon which all the others are built. It is the source code, the central sun around which the other 6 secrets orbit. Without this one, all the others are merely tactics, performances that will eventually crumble. The ultimate secret to becoming irreplaceable in a man's soul is that she becomes her own unshakable source of value. The woman who is still replaceable is the woman who is caught in the validation trap. She is operating from the unconscious wound of the orphan archetype, the part of her that believes her worth is conditional and must be earned from the outside. She is the beggar at the gates of the king's castle, hoping he will toss her a single golden coin of his affection to prove she is worthy. She may learn to be a map, but she does so hoping he will praise her for her clarity. She may try to be a sanctuary, but she does so hoping he will reward her with his presence. She may practice silence, but she is listening intently for his footsteps. Each of her actions, no matter how sovereign they may appear on the surface, is secretly a performance for an external audience. And because it is a performance, it is fragile. The truly irreplaceable woman is not the beggar. She is the queen of her own inner kingdom, and she has learned the final, most liberating truth. She can mint her own currency. Her currency is self-love, self-respect, and radical self-validation. She does not need a coin from his kingdom to feel rich, because she is already wealthy beyond measure with the treasures of her own soul. This is the shift that changes everything. She becomes the missing map to his soul, because she has first courageously mapped her own. She becomes the sanctuary for his nervous system, because she has first built a sanctuary within herself. She masters the gravity of her absence, because her life is genuinely full, not because she is pretending. She speaks the silent language fluently, because it is her native tongue, the language of her own inner peace. She embodies the wild woman, not to captivate him, but because she has uncaged herself. She speaks in unexplained truths, not as a tactic, but because she has stopped seeking permission for her own reality. A man cannot make you irreplaceable. Only you can. The paradox is that he will only see you as irreplaceable when your own sense of irreplaceability no longer depends on him seeing it. When you become your own source of validation, you free him from the impossible job of being your God. You release him from the pressure of having to constantly fill a void that was never his to fill, and in that freedom, something miraculous happens. He is no longer relating to your neediness, but to your fullness. He is no longer managing your insecurities, but standing in awe of your strength. It is in this moment that he sees you, not as a woman he can complete, but as a whole and sovereign queen whom he feels profoundly privileged to be near. The need to be irreplaceable in his soul dissolves, and in its place a quiet, powerful knowing emerges. You already are. We have traveled a long road together, uncovering the 7 unconscious secrets that forge a bond of irreplaceability in a man's soul. We have learned to become the map, the sanctuary, the tide, the silent music, the wildness, the unexplained truth, and finally, the source. But as we stand here at the end of our journey, the final and most profound alchemy must take place. You must now see that these 7 secrets were never a list of things to do for him. They are, and have always been, a sacred map of how to become for yourself. This is the great paradox of irreplaceability. You become irreplaceable to his soul in the exact moment you realize that you are already, and have always been, irreplaceable to your own. The entire journey you thought was about him was a magnificently disguised pilgrimage back to you. The desire to become his sanctuary was your soul's call to build a sanctuary within yourself. The longing to speak the silent language that would captivate him was your soul's plea to finally listen to its own quiet wisdom. The quest for his devotion was, all along, your soul's quest to finally offer that same unwavering devotion to itself. And when you arrive in that sacred place, when you are so full of your own presence that you no longer seek to be completed, a miraculous peace descends. The question of whether you are replaceable becomes irrelevant. The need to be his one and only dissolves, because you have finally become your own. And a woman who belongs so completely to herself is a force that no man and no circumstance can ever truly take away. She is, by her very nature, eternal.